Welcome back. You are listening to LA Radio. Glad to have you here. This is part two about being a writer. I have a question that was thrown out there, and it is, when did I realize and or notice I was a writer? Well, I realized that when I was little. I know elementary. I don't want to say fourth grade, maybe it was third going into fourth, but it was a summer. I can't say once again I was in elementary, and it definitely wasn't when I was in second grade, so it had to be between third or fourth grade, maybe. But I noticed I used to just always get this Garfield and Friends book down from the library. It was one of my favorites, and I would just trace the pictures out of the book, and or try to draw them. Or I think with this particular book, my sister actually redrew each page for me. She enlarged it, she sketched each page for me, and then I colored it in myself, copying each page and rewriting the same dang book down, making a cover and everything. And I realized then, I'm like, I just copied this whole book and colored the whole thing, and it felt like it was mine. It really did. That's how I felt. I sat at the table and I'm like, I've done this before. How many times will I do this? There was another book when I was little. I realized that I copied completely was Stan the Hot Dog Man. I don't remember who the author was by, but I'm gonna have to look that up so I can see if there's a picture of that book. It's crazy. I just shook my head when I was little. It was Garfield. Then when I sat there as a child, I realized at that moment I copied other books. I'm like, this is crazy. Why don't I just write my own? But that's when I realized I'm probably a writer. I'm an author or something. I didn't have anybody come up and tell me stuff like that. Hey, you should write, or you should do this or that. Actually, I was encouraged to do other BS that I wasn't interested in, like being a nurse. Old-fashioned people, man. Be a freaking nurse. I don't want to be a freaking nurse. Might as well be a pastor's wife or something. That's just how I feel on that. There was other things people who were like my elders thought I would be good at. Be a teacher. You so nice. I'm like, I don't want to be a teacher. I remember hearing that a lot. Teacher or be a nurse. Like, stupid MFers. So I definitely knew as a child I didn't want to go down that path. That was something set in stone that I would not want to be. But that's when I realized I was a writer. I don't think I really started taking it to heart though until I got into 8th grade, when I met my English teacher. My 8th grade English teacher in middle school was David Romance. He was a powerful English teacher. He was passionate about what he did. You could tell he didn't hate coming to his work to teach us stuff. He really loved his job and he got into it. And I think everybody could feel that. Even the students who were considered quote unquote problem children, they even respected him and settled down and behaved to the best of their ability. In his class, he was just so for real, and he taught us something that really inspired me. What really inspired me to open and become a writer in 8th grade, so that was 98, 99. I'm telling my age. It was when our teacher encouraged us to write in our journals, which was an assignment we had to do every semester. We had a journal to write, but he said it don't have to be just black and white. It can be pages of pictures in there. You can cut out pictures from magazines or articles. If you can't draw or you have a hard time drawing, find the picture you're trying to describe, copy it out of, photocopy it, Xerox machine. Xerox machine, that sounds so funny. That's what he called it. And put it, paste it down into your journal. You can put a song in there, feathers in there. It's yours. Make it your own. It do not have to be the traditional Columbus type you know, 1980s dear journal, woe is me, I'm sitting down at the table with my ink and quill. So that really inspired me to take it a step further. I really got into journaling, and I still have all my journals from that point till now. It's stacks and stacks of journals. I drew pictures in it, I wrote stuff in it. I just want to say thank you to David Romance. He's still alive. It's crazy. He also taught me when I was, younger, because he had turned 60. I didn't know people could live that to be 60 years old and still be functioning. Because growing up in my circle of adults, they taught me a lot of negative things about life. And being 60, you'd be pooping in the bag and in a nursing home, old and senile. So going to school, seeing a teacher who was 60, and he didn't look like it at all, but he was still functioning, was in his right mind, and happily married, and it just made me realize that I can do all things through Christ. And F all y'all efforts who taught me all these wrong negative things about life. Now I'm stuck here trying to deprogram my spirit and mind from all these negative things he taught from me. But so my English teacher really helped me out, not only to inspire to write, but to explore every possibility of myself through journaling. And also that being 60, you can live past 60 years old and not have to be in a poop bag. The joys of being a writer. It's just so amazing how far one can come. And sometimes you don't realize it until years later. So I can say that I realized that I was possibly a writer when I was in, second to third grade or third to fourth grade, but I never considered in my mind to be an author. I really didn't know how to distinguish the two at the time. I just knew I liked to write. And I didn't associate liking to write with actually publishing and completing a book. I don't think I was able to wrap my mind around that. So after realizing I wanted to be a writer, I didn't know how to answer those stupid adults when they asked me what it is I want to be in life. I didn't come right out and say a writer, because in my world, that wasn't really a title to anything. And I wasn't too affiliated with actually what an author was. But an author is nothing more than a writer. But now I know, it's just weird. You can tell your kids that too. A writer is the same thing as an author. Same thing. Only thing that may stand between the difference between that is if one, the author or writer, publishes anything. But you can still call yourself a writer and be published. You can still call yourself an author and be published. I think that's where I'm going to cut off right there. Just by answering those two questions, I'm really trying to get a good scope on how I segment each of these topics. But yeah, those were the two questions I wanted to answer to you guys. How did I know I was a writer, and what kind of sparked or put the, hit the nail on the head for me to realize that this is something I want to do. Thank you for listening to me, all you writers out there and bloggers. You guys rock. I love you. Thank you for your support. If you have any questions, drop them down in the comments. If there's anything in particular you want me to talk to you about pertaining to writing, let me know and I'll talk about it.